So my name is Robert Goldberg. I was a neuroscientist for 10 years. Came to MIT as a visiting scientist in John Gabrielli's lab in Brain and Cognitive Sciences. And at the time, I was really searching for a way to take what I understood about the brain and apply it to our daily lives. Really, we were struggling to use neuroimaging methods to understand how the brain works. And while neuroimaging is amazing, you can see inside the brain and how it works for really the first time over the last 20 years. The problem is it's only about an hour of information about how the brain works, and it costs a lot, thousands of dollars. And that's not only including the time it takes to get that information. When I came to MIT, I was really searching for a way to take what I understood about the brain and apply it to how we live our lives. I grew up in a family with pretty rampant mental health issues, and so this had a lasting impact in the way I saw the world and how I respond to the world. So I had a chance to take a class called Neurotechnology Ventures, taught by Ed Boyden and Joost Bonzen. It's in that class that I met my co-founders at Neumitra. And what we realized at the time, this was 6 years ago if you can believe it, what we realized at the time was that if you had a computer that was on the body, you could collect a tremendous amount of information about how the body is responding to daily life demands. That's effectively stress. Stress is the autonomic nervous system. It keeps us alive every minute of every day. The reality of it, though, is keeping us alive is very challenging from a homeostatic perspective. We realized with a computer that's on the body, we could collect a tremendous amount of information about the physiology of daily life demands. Now, that alone wouldn't be sufficient to understand our lives, but luckily we all have computers in our pockets, smartphones. When you combine physiological data from the body with contextual information from smartphones, we realized, wow, you can get a tremendous amount of information about how daily life affects us, whether it's the people, the places, or the events that we're traveling through as part of our daily life. And so what we start to see at Neumitra is how all of those things, the places we go, the people we interact with, the events that populate all of our calendars, we realize that we can understand the physiology in a way that's never before been possible. So at Neumitra, what we're doing is we're combining continuous data from the physiology of the body with contextual data from mobile phones to understand how stress affects individuals and large organizations. So when we started, what we realized was there's this whole category of medicine called mental health. I'm a neuroscientist. I don't know what the mind is, but I know what the brain is. And yet, over 10 years of education didn't teach me how the brain actually affects the whole body. That's stress. Stress affects how the heart works, it affects how you breathe, it affects digestion, it even affects fertility. So what we realized is by quantifying the physiology of stress, we can help everyone to understand their bodies and ultimately their brains better. We use our brains every day. Knowledge workers in particular are at a disadvantage when they're under a lot of stress. Why? Stress affects memory, it affects learning, it even affects our ability to focus. So what we're finding is in large stressful organizations, they're not only paying for higher healthcare costs, they're also paying for lower productivity from their most valuable resource, their people.